As we mentioned earlier, Teddy Bridgewater suffered a dislocated left knee, and an MRI revealed the complete tear of his left ACL and other structural damage in practice yesterday. So Bridgewater's out for the season. His backup is Sean Hill. Westgate Las Vegas Superbook is now projecting Minnesota to win 8 games this season. They were 11-5 last season and won the NFC North. Damian Woody now with us. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Good. Always good to have you at this desk.
Yes.
Hopefully it'll cause a little trouble for us.
Not too much.
But not on this subject. Damian, are the Vikings done?
Absolutely not. I mean, listen, we don't know what the Vikings, what their plans with Teddy Bridgewater, what their plans were as far as expanding, what they want to do with him offensively. But remember, this was a team last year that pretty much marginalized the quarterback position. The Minnesota Vikings had the fewest passes in the NFL, only 14 touchdown passes in the NFL. They had the 5th-ranked scoring defense. So you really got to understand how this team is built. There's a guy in the backfield, I don't know if people remember his name, called Adrian Peterson. You know who Adrian Peterson is, right?
I think so.
Yeah, he's pretty good. Okay, so this team is going to run the football. They're going to line up in 2 tight ends. They're going to play smash mouth, going to try to go over the top, and they're going to play great defense. That's a Mike Zimmer type of team. They're not going to, turn into Air Coryell all of a sudden and start slinging the ball over the field. That's not their MO.
The fact that they seem to be taking steps forward in terms of Bridgewater's development. And it's not just that they won 11 games in a division where if anything happens to Green Bay, it's not the strongest in the world, but that they were maybe going to take a step forward this year, that they could win some playoff games, they could make a little run if Bridgewater develops, and now you take that away.
Well, I think they could have, in all honesty, they should have won that fluky playoff game against Seattle. So this is a team, if you look at them now, they're actually better this year on paper, even without Teddy Bridgewater not being available for 2016, how they solidify other positions on the team. So, again, this is a team that's built on defense. Mike Zimmer, former defensive coordinator. They have more weapons on offense. They've upgraded the offensive line. It's going to be the same formula again. They're going to run the football. They're going to play good defense. And that's how they're going to win football games.
Damian. What's your definition of success for this team?
Playoffs.
So,
playoffs.
Just make it. So if they make the playoffs and go home after one playoff game like they did this past year, you'll consider that for success?
Well, I mean, listen, if we're going to be cliche-ish about it, then if we're going to use cliches, all 32 teams, the goal is to win the Super Bowl. There's only one winner and 31 other losers. So
it's not a cliche.
Can we get to the real topic?
I am going to get there if a brother answer my question. So I don't understand. I mean, what's the scare? Were you scared to answer the question? You scared to answer the question? If the Vikings go to the playoffs and don't win a playoff game, is that your definition of success? Yes or no?
Absolutely.
Okay, we disagree there. Here's why. Because to me, progress is success.
Right.
Stagnancy is not. If you get to the playoffs and you go home just like you did last year, it's a problem. Matter of fact, this year will it be even worse because last year you should have won that game if your kicker made the damn field goal, a chip shot, instead of missing it. But here's where it gets interesting for the Vikings. Their defense is stout. We understand that. They went from like 30th in the league, okay, to like 5th in Zimmer's first year. These boys are no joke. Zimmer knows what he's doing. He's a damn good coach. Fair enough. Defensively, I have no doubt that they're stout. Offensively, you improved your offensive line. You still got the best running back in football. I get it. But Laquan Treadwell, a rookie, Stephon Diggs, I like him. Your leading receiver caught for 720 yards. Your leading receiver. And so when I look at the Minnesota Vikings, I've got questions about their passing attack. As a result, they're going to lean heavily on the run, which they should, because we all know that. But Damian Woody is one of the people that used to talk to me and was like, look, man, certain cats defy Father Time, but only for so long, Stephen A., because even though a guy like Adrian Peterson is a stud, eventually something's going to happen. You're going to have to give him some help. So, yeah, they gave him a little help with the offensive line. I got that, particularly with Boone going there. That's why you don't want Kaepernick there. But from the receiver's perspective,
good point, actually.
From the receiver's perspective, I'm looking at a Stephon Diggs. I'm looking at a Treadwell, Kyle Rudolph. Yeah, I'm just looking at it and I'm saying, excuse me, let's look at the NFC, because you do have to actually play people. You don't get to, it ain't shadow football, like shadow boxing. You actually have to play opponents.
Okay.
So let's look at those opponents. Carolina.
Okay.
and Arizona
Right.
and Seattle and Green Bay. You know,
Sound like you're picking division winners.
No,
Okay, you do know there's like two wild card spots, right?
What I'm saying is,
Okay.
I'm saying if you don't get a playoff win, to me, that's not successful if you're coming off a berth to the playoffs the year before. You were going this way.
Okay, so
You gotta make progress. What is so
how
hard
many
to
teams?
understand?
So let me ask you this question.
Yes.
How many teams make progress without their starting quarterback? How many teams?
I don't
You
know.
talking
It's
about
not many.
the
It's not
Minnesota
many.
Vikings
It's not
need
many.
to,
It's not many.
advance in the
Hold on.
playoffs. But how many teams and
But
how many teams
Damien,
make actual
Damien,
progress as a team
This is why I hate to
without the
say
starting
it.
quarterback?
Time out. I hate to say it. I'm with Stephen A. on this one.
Okay,
it kills
go
me
ahead.
to do
I'm
it.
listening.
You're killing me right
Okay,
now.
I'm listening. Go ahead.
What you're
Double
admitting,
coverage.
Shows his wisdom. He's just showing his wisdom. Don't
what
get
you're
upset about
admitting
that.
is that, since, we're saying, are the Vikings done? You're saying no. He says, what is the standard for success? And you're like, making the playoffs, and I agree with you there.
Right.
If they make the playoffs, that's a success because they lost their starting quarterback. But the point is, because they lost their starting quarterback, our expectations are diminished. The standard for what is a success has lowered, and we don't expect them to win a playoff game, right? I mean, isn't that what we're saying?
That's your expectation. You can't put words in my mouth. I still believe that they're going to the playoffs.
Well, will they win a game?
Wait.
Yeah, I don't see why not. Let me hold on. Let me hold on. Let me tell you something right now.
Just changed a little bit.
With Teddy, yeah, just a little bit. You know what?
Just a
It's
little.
okay.
Yeah.
It's all right.
All right.
It's okay. With Teddy Bridgewater as a quarterback, this was a team. They didn't even really rely on the passing attack. Okay? They didn't even rely on. It's all about the defensive running game. So this whole notion. Let's get back to the original question. Are the Minnesota Vikings done? Done would mean to me that you don't even have the opportunity to play for a Super Bowl, meaning you're not making the playoffs.
I don't think they're making the playoffs.
I think they are making the playoffs because look at what happened last year. The quarterback position was marginalized. They didn't even ask Teddy Bridgewater to really do anything, and they still made the postseason.
Jordy Nelson healthy this year.
Unlike Max Kellerman and unlike Molly, I'm going to call you on this because
Okay, go ahead.
I actually recall the things that you say.
Go ahead.
Remember when I tell you I give my speeches, I'm brilliant.
Okay.
Because I know I'm not. I listen to those who are.
Okay.
And I heard Damian Woody on several occasions talk about predictability, talk about the fact that what worked one year ain't going to necessarily work the next year because now we see you coming. Now, if you are great, that would be different. But because they're not great, because they're average or slightly above average, the fact that they don't have much of a passing game, the fact that they're going to have to rely on their running game, the fact that they're going to be able to do the same things that they've always been doing, and you consider the other teams in the NFC, it's not going to be good enough. You're supposed to upgrade. You're supposed to elevate.
They did upgrade.
How did they elevate?
They upgraded the offensive line. They upgraded the wide receiver. They did
upgrade the wide receiver. How?
So
Stephon Diggs can play. I know he can play.
Okay.
But Laquan Trevor,
Charles Johnson.
So you're relying on a rookie?
You're
relying on a rookie?
He's going to contribute. There's no question about that. Listen, from where the quarterback position was last year to whoever's in there, it doesn't matter. It's all going to be the same. They're going to play off of their identity, defense, and running the football.
I think
the question
43% of their offense was the run. That's high.
The question was, are the Minnesota Vikings done?
Yes.
And I say no,
and I say
because
yes.
the same formulas that they had last year will work again this year.
They will play 9 games and they will miss the playoffs. They will win 9 games and they will miss the playoffs.
Oh, well, that's why they play the games, right?
All right, that's right. That's
Yeah.
right.
So when it's all said and done, then I'm gonna come back and holler at you. We're gonna have the
all right,
discussion.
let's do it then.
Nine wins. They sound like a done team to me.
Can we go to commercial? Thank you. Up next.
First Take is brought to you by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. PapaJohns.com. 2 medium, 2 topping pizzas, only $6.99 each. And Sully, the untold story behind the Miracle on the Hudson. In theaters September 9th.
8 months after his personal foul cost his team a playoff game against the Steelers, Bengals linebacker Vontaze Burfict was asked by Monday morning quarterback what he thinks about the Steelers. Here's what he had to say. I don't give no bleeps about them. 0. You can write that too. I don't give no expletives about them. They're just another team. They don't scare me. Just another team. It is important to note that he will be out for the Bengals Week 2 game versus the Steelers because of his 3-week suspension for repeated safety violations. Oh, Stephen A., my fellow Steelers fan, do you like, love, or hate Vontez's comments?
I love it. I absolutely, positively love it. Number one, because I respect his intensity. I know that he struggles in terms of avoiding crossing that line, and it is something that he's going to have to deal with, no doubt. I think Vontez Burfict is a big-time player. I think he's skilled. I think his intensity level is never usurped by anybody, and I respect him, even though he's got to get his act together. But what I really, really love about it is that I'm a Steelers fan. And so by you cursing out the Steelers and you don't give a damn about the Steelers and talking all of this smack, you seem somebody that's still relatively easy to irritate, which would work for me. You understand? Because I'm a Steelers fan. So it doesn't bother me at all. I don't want him to get suspended. I don't want him to get suspended. But these kind of things where he opens his mouth, puts him at a disadvantage, particularly when he goes against the Steelers because of all the attention that's going to come his way, how it could potentially irritate him and potentially bait him into doing something. I don't want him to get suspended or miss games and miss money, but I do want him to mess up against the Steelers. And it seems like he's ripe for that to happen. So keep talking. It's a beautiful thing.
I hate this. Because to paraphrase Shakespeare, the linebacker doth protest too much.
Oh, Lord.
He went.
You really got to stop with Shakespeare stuff, man.
I don't give no bleeps about them. Zero. You can write that. Now he's telling someone to quote him, dropping, you know, the F-bomb. I don't get, and then he says it again. They're just another team. They don't scare me, just another team. If all that was true, you wouldn't have to go in like that. First of all, he misses the first meeting with that team. You don't have any playoff wins in your career. He's an excellent player. Doesn't have any playoff wins in his career, partly because he just handed the rivals a playoff win because he couldn't control himself. And he knocked out Antonio Brown.
Yes.
Clearly, the Bengals and the Steelers are the class of that division, so they are the chief rivals in that division. How could, you know, of course you care more about them. Of course they're not just another team. And the way, so the facts say they're not just another team, and then the way he went in says they're not just another team. If they're really just another team, you go, oh, they're just another team. Done. You don't have to go in like that and then say, write it, quote me, and all this kind of stuff.
He's lying.
Of course he is.
He's lying. Well, the Bengals are prone to lie.
That's when someone asks you about your ex. You're like, I don't care.
The Bengals are prone to lie. Well, it depends on the ex. Sometimes you legitimately don't care. Sometimes your heart's broken and you just have to get over it. But the point that I'm trying to make to you is that they've made the playoffs 5 of the last 6 years. 7 times, I believe, in the career of Marvin Lewis, the 12 seasons he's been coaching. They haven't won a single playoff game. And I put that on Marvin Lewis to some degree. But last year, with Burfict losing his cool Backman Jones, he didn't.
Agreed.
But that's what it is.
But earlier, Stephen A., you had a great suggestion for Tim Tebow. He could go back to his high school team where he played 12 years, or the WWE. Right. But we wanted to know what you guys thought if you would want Tebow on a roster. And 43% said they would want him on their MLB team.
You got to be kidding me.
43%.
Who the hell? Who?
Your fans.
Who said
family.
that?
Yeah.
Who said that? Tim Tebow on a Major League Baseball. They didn't even say minor league. They said Major League Baseball.
Major League Baseball.
They don't know. They're drunk.
I think they said the Yankees.
We polled a bunch of drunks.
I think they said they're going to bring the Yankees back.
Please.
Timmy and Pinstripe.
Brian Cashman and the Yankees would never do that. You must be crazy.
I'm glad he got a chance to try out. I don't hold that against him.
Come on.
People like Stephen A. are too down on Tebow, but he ain't playing baseball for my Yankees.
Here's what we know. Here's what he knows.
My life,
Tim Tebow has a great agent.
Max Kellerman.
A great agent.
I'm Molly. We'll see you guys tomorrow. We love his agent.